Good afternoon. Welcome to Movers and Shakers. All the buzzing stocks of the day will be discussed in the next half an hour, and there are many to report.
Indeed, a weekday for the markets, but lots of movers and shakers in trade. So very quickly, here's the lineup and the list. Sabero Organics, first up, is up more than 7% as global plans are all set to drive growth for them. We'll touch base with the management for more on the show.
And from the space that's buzzing with news, Indraprastha Gas sees buying on hopes the deregulation of oil prices could also be coupled with an APM gas price hike. We'll get the management to answer that query in just a bit.
Meantime, from the trading favorites, fertilizers, that is Mangalore Chemicals and Fertilizers, is buzzing in trade after a strong third quarter. More on the earnings coming up in just a bit.
And more from the earnings stars. Goa Carbon is up very smartly in trade. We'll find out what's buzzing in that company.
And from the universe of commodities, copper is at its lowest level since mid-November as concerns linger over Chinese monetary tightening and a surge in the dollar. So we'll get you more perspective and a trading strategy on that.
But the weakness in copper has had an impact on equities as well. Globally, metal and mineral stocks have seen a sell-off.
All right, first up, Sabero Organics. That is the first stock in focus. Sumit Chuganee, who is the vice president, or rather the VC of the company, he joins us now. Mr. Chuganee, thanks very much for joining us. Just going through the details on your company, you are seeing good bit of traction in your international business. If you could tell us your product-wise revenue and more importantly, how much of business are you now seeing from the international markets, and in particular, which geographies are now showing you an uptick?
Well, in terms of the international business, we are pretty much there in all markets, whether it's Latin America, the US, Asia, Africa, as well as Europe. In terms of the future, I think our key focus areas are going to be Europe, as well as Latin America, and in particular Brazil and Argentina. We have a number of registrations under process in Brazil. Brazil is the largest agrochemical market in the world today. So we expect, we just got one registration last year for an insecticide, and we expect our fungicide registration in the next couple of months. So these will be the focus areas. In terms of percentage, the international business historically has been, or at least for the last year and the year before that, about 65% of our overall business. And I think it's going to continue to be the same way. Last quarter was a bit of was a bit different because it's the India business did very well in the last quarter. So I think actually last quarter the India business was about 47% and the international business was 53%. So that's, I think, an exception where the domestic business was particularly strong in the last quarter.
Sumit, hi, good afternoon to you. If you could just take us through the kind of traction that you're expecting then. You've done about 109 odd crores of sales this quarter in Q3. From the kind of traction that you're seeing in the international business, what kind of uptick are you expecting percentage-wise on the sales figure? And also, what is your estimate for your revenue in FY10? Do you think you'll do about a 70 to 80 crore revenue?
Okay. In the current year, we would be touching a gross sales of 500 crores, which would imply that in the current quarter we would be doing about, the balance. I think for the next year we are expecting a growth of about 25% in the top line, and we are confident that that growth rate would continue for the next couple of years.
All right, tell us about two of your products, Mancozeb and Glyphosate, that form a big chunk of your revenues. Are you seeing any traction in those two, particularly in the export markets?
Well, last year we had expanded our Mancozeb plant to more than double, and that makes us the second largest manufacturer of this product in the world.
Right.
So we see, substantial growth in that product. We're currently just operating at about 60% capacity utilization in that product. So there is a long ways that we can go. Of course, that depends upon customer acquisition and, more importantly, registrations. We're expecting our Mancozeb registration in Brazil, the Mancozeb formulation registration in Brazil in April. So that'll give us a jump right there. Overall, as a company, we're running at about 65% capacity utilization. So with the current assets on the ground, we can deliver more than 50% higher sales from the current levels with no further capital investment.
Right.
Which will happen in the next couple of years.
Right, Mr. Chuganee. Leave it at that. That's a better organics and the growth plans really going forward. A 9% excess appreciation really coming in for that particular stock. Up next, IGL. That's the other buzzer. Rajesh Vedvyas, who's